All right, we're starting with our hash brown patties in our little aluminum pans. Next, I'm gonna grab some bacon, and in this first row, I'm gonna add 2 slices of bacon right on top of our hash browns, just like this. Oh, it looks like I have an extra piece, so I might as well split that and put it right in there. Now for the other 2, I'm gonna bring in my cooked breakfast sausage, and we are just going to sprinkle that right on top of that hash brown patties. Yum. Now if you want to do a ham, you could do a ham here. You can do whatever breakfast meat you like. I love bacon and sausage, which is why I chose those 2 for this delicious, easy breakfast that's customizable to everyone's liking. So we added a nice layer of sausage there. We have our bacon, and the next thing we're gonna add is some onions. Now I'm gonna add my onions to my bacon little pans, but you can add whatever veggie you like to each of these. That is the best part. Ooh, all right, that was about 1/4 a cup of onions in those 2 pans. Now I'm gonna bring 1/4 a cup of my tricolor bell peppers that I'm gonna put with my sausage. So I get a little variety for my breakfasts as I am meal prepping these easy and yummy breakfasts. Actually, let's make sure you use all those. No point in wasting them. They're already cut up. Beautiful. I'm gonna slide that over, and I have 8 eggs here, so 2 eggs per tin, and I'm gonna season these super quick. I have some garlic powder, because you guys know I need garlic powder in every single one of my recipes. Yum. And I'm gonna add some black pepper. Just gonna grind that right in there. You're gonna add as much or as little as you like. You can even add some milk to your eggs if you want it to be a little creamier, but I'm gonna keep this on the lighter side so that it is a more healthy breakfast. I'm adding some onion powder because next to garlic powder, this is my favorite. All right, and that looks like enough for 8 eggs. So we're gonna go ahead and whisk these together so that they can be nice and scrambled. And then we're gonna pour them over our tins. All right, I think that looks nice and scrambled. It doesn't need to be perfect because you're making it for yourself. So as long as you like your eggs, that's what matters. And we're gonna make sure to evenly distribute these into each of our tins. So we have the hash browns, we have the meats, the veggies, and now we're adding the egg for the perfectly balanced breakfast. I think just make sure to spread that out as best as you can. You can add more eggs too if you want extra protein. You can even double up the protein and do bacon and sausage in all 4 of them, but this is the way I like it. Now, last but certainly not least, cheese time. So I'm gonna do some medium cheddar with my bacon and my onions because I think that will complement these flavors perfectly. Now you can shred your own cheese, but I was feeling lazy today. And the shredded cheese was cheaper than the block of cheese today. It was on sale, so I am a happy girl. All right, that looks like enough cheese right there. Beautiful. Now for our sausage and bell peppers, I'm gonna do some mozzarella. And yes, Tillamook was on sale. I know, it never happens, which is why I had to buy the pre-shredded. All right, get that all in there. And those eggs will rise and just cook up into those hash brown patties just beautifully. But our easy little individual breakfast casseroles are ready for the oven. My oven is set to 350, and this is gonna be in there for about 35 to 40 minutes. All right, so we just rolled up our cooked sausage links in our crescents, and I'm gonna go ahead and bring in my 9x13 that I greased, and we're gonna go ahead and place our sausage links vertically into our greased pan. I'm gonna make 1 more row. I'm instantly gonna bring in some diced bell peppers. I'm using bell peppers, but you can use whatever veggie you like for this super easy 1-pan breakfast. And we're gonna use that whole container of our tricolor bell peppers. Get that nice and spread out on top of our crescents. And of course, the next thing we're gonna bring in is some cheese. I'm using some Colby Jack because this is what I had in my fridge, but you can use whatever cheese you like. It's super customizable, super delicious, and super easy to make for a Sunday brunch, great for an Easter brunch, great for honestly any morning when you want to serve a crowd. And I think we're gonna add, I think that was about a cup of cheese, and we're just gonna make sure that's spread out just like so. All right, I'm gonna move that to the side and bring over my dozen eggs that I pre-cracked. And into our eggs, I'm gonna add some heavy whipping cream. This is gonna make them nice and fluffy and delicious, almost like a quiche. And I added about half a cup to our dozen eggs. Now I'm gonna season this super quick with some black pepper. And just like with the cheese and the veggies, you can customize your seasonings to your liking. You guys already know I'm gonna do some garlic powder because I love garlic in anything. And then the last seasoning I'm gonna use, which is my favorite for eggs, some smoked paprika. Oh yeah, and we're gonna make sure to scramble these up, and this is gonna go beautifully with our sausages. So grab a whisk, and we're gonna make sure to whisk this all together, make sure all those yolks get scrambled. Delicious. I absolutely love making this when my family comes into town. It's so easy, so quick, and you just pop it in the oven for about 45 minutes, and then you have a breakfast that will feed 10 people, which is not an easy thing to do nowadays. All right, now this looks beautifully whisked together. We're gonna bring back our 9x13, and you guys know it, we're gonna drizzle our egg mixture right on top. Oh, and that just fills the pan so perfectly. Now, one last finishing touch. I have some freeze-dried chives that I'm gonna sprinkle on top. I just think the greenery adds a great color, makes your breakfast even more appetizing. All right, but this is ready. And like I said, this is gonna be in the oven for 45 minutes at 350. All right, now I'm gonna season my eggs with some garlic powder. You can season your eggs however you like. We just have our tricolor bell peppers with our full eggs in there. I next have my onion powder, and I did grease my sheet pan. That's super important. As you can see, some of those egg whites have escaped, but that's not gonna take away from the taste of this easy and delicious breakfast. We have some black pepper. I'm seasoning this up super quick. And then finally some salt, and you can skip the salt if you're worried about your sodium intake, but I personally love a little bit of salt on my breakfast. Beautiful. Next, I'm gonna come in with some cut up bacon, and we are gonna put some bacon bits on this first row of bell peppers right here. And you can use whatever meat you like. You can use whatever kind of bell pepper color you like. The options are endless. For that middle row, I have some ham that is diced up very small, and we're just doing a little bit of that ham into this whole row of bell peppers. All right, now for cheese, I have some freshly grated cheddar cheese, and that's gonna go with my bacon bell peppers, and we're putting that right on top, covering up that egg. And just like with everything else, you can use whatever cheese you like. You can put as little, you can even skip the cheese to make this an even healthier breakfast. But this is gonna be so easy and so delicious, and you know, a good way to start your morning. With our ham, I'm gonna do some Swiss that I freshly grated. Oh my goodness, I think Swiss and ham go beautifully together, but this is so great. It's great if you have a lot of people coming over and they're picky eaters, because you can make each one customizable if that's how you wanna do things, but that looks absolutely perfect. Now we're gonna top these off with a little bit of garnish. I have some green onion to go with the cheddar and bacon, and we're just sprinkling that on right on top. I like my onion to be a little bit crisp, so that's why I'm adding it on before I cook, but you could also top these off once you pull them out of the oven. It is totally a preference thing. Now for the ham ones, I'm gonna do some chopped parsley. Just adds a nice little greenery, makes it more appetizing to look at, and it adds a good little flavor. And that is it, you guys. Our super easy bell pepper breakfast is ready for the oven. My oven is set to 350, and you're gonna cook that depending on how you like your eggs, but I'm gonna put mine in for 25 minutes. All right, those were just my original biscuit grands that I quartered. All right, I'm gonna move that to the side and bring in my bowl. And in my bowl, I'm gonna start with 1 can of our Libby's country sausage gravy. Pierce the can so that we can get this out easy. Beautiful, right in our bowl. All right, and now we're bringing back our biscuit quarters, and we're gonna place our 8 biscuits right into our breakfast sausage. I did put on my food grade gloves so that we can keep this nice and clean. Next, I'm gonna come in with 1 pound of cooked sausage. Now, that gravy does have sausage in it, but it is never enough sausage for me and my family, so I'm adding a whole nother pound. Now I have 5 eggs that I scrambled already, and we're gonna go ahead and drizzle that into our bowl with our gravy, our biscuits, and our sausage. If you haven't been able to tell yet, we are making a breakfast. Oh yeah. And I like cheese with my biscuits and gravy, so I am gonna add this whole bag of triple cheddar Tillamook. You can grade your own cheese if that's what you prefer, but I love the Tillamook. Now we're gonna quickly season this. I have some black pepper, and we are gonna season this generously so that we can get lots of flavor in this breakfast. I have some sea salt. I'm just gonna add a little bit of salt because I do think that like the eggs and the biscuits need a touch of salt. Of course, I'm gonna do some garlic powder because that's my favorite. Ooh, that pepper is gonna make me sneeze, but it's all gonna be worth it. Lots of garlic powder. This is a big serving, okay? So do not under-season it. Now we're gonna finish this off with some onion powder. All right, and I think this is about ready, and we have our gloves on so that we can just toss everything in that gravy, in those eggs, in those biscuits, in that cheese, and that seasoning. Look how beautifully it's coming together. Oh my goodness, this is the best way to do breakfast. I absolutely love how easy and simple this comes together. Now you can do a homemade gravy if that's your style. You can make everything homemade. You can even do the biscuits homemade. But I actually really love that Libby's canned gravy. I know it's not everyone's favorite, but I am a fan. All right, I think this is coming together pretty nicely. What do you think, babe?
I mean, it looks good. I mean, where's the biscuits?
Oh, yeah.
It's in here, right?
Yeah. Okay, and now we're gonna bring in our bundt pan, and you do need to grease this heavy so that our breakfast doesn't stick. Make sure you get the center. I'm using the butter pan, but you can just use regular butter and some flour, but do whatever works for you and your lifestyle. All right, that looks great. Now we pour our gravy mixture into our bundt pan. Our biscuits, our cheese, our sausage. Oh my goodness, you gotta make sure you get some in the front as well. Oh, this looks so good. 1 package of biscuits, 1 can of gravy, 1 package of cheese, 5 eggs. Not too many eggs, because you know they're costly right now. All right, I think I did a pretty good job distributing that. All right. And this is ready for the oven. My oven is set to 350, and this is gonna be in there for 50 minutes. Oh my, these smell absolutely incredible. Woo-hoo. Now, before we dig in, I'm just gonna go ahead and grab my green onions, and we're just gonna cut a few green onions right on top of all 4 of these aluminums. You can be a little bit more picky with yours if you want. You could even add some hot sauce on top of these, but I think green onions adds a nice fresh flavor to our delicious little individual breakfast casseroles. Okay, that looks like enough. We'll just quickly kind of spread them out so they look more fancy. Ooh, all right. It is time to give these a try. I think I'm gonna go for the sausage one because I am craving sausage. Just dig right in. You see that hash brown, the egg encased into it, sausage, everything good in life. That is incredible. Oh my goodness. You guys are really gonna love this, and you get your own individual portion. Yum. Oh my, it smells so good in my house right now. Look how beautiful this cooked up. I'm so excited to try a piece. I'm just gonna get our spatula and cut right into it. Remember, I greased that pan, so this is gonna come out super easy. Oh, look at that. Oh, and you can see the sausage right here. Looks so delicious. I smell the peppers, I smell the eggs, I smell the cheese, the chives. I cannot wait to dig in. Oh, and that crescent is perfectly cooked. That is incredible. Oh my gosh, you have to try it. Oh my, will you take a look at these? They smell incredible, they look incredible. It is time to give them a try. I am personally a bacon kind of girl, so we're just gonna go right under and grab a bacon one. And remember, we greased our pan so they come off beautifully. Now I did go for an over hard egg, but like I said, you can take yours out early if you don't like yours over hard. But this is perfectly cooked to me. Oh my goodness. Okay, put one more cut in there.
Smells delicious, babe.
Oh, this is gonna be such a good breakfast. Woo. Oh yeah, your family's gonna love this. All right, so this actually was in there for 1 hour, so 10 more minutes than I said. We're gonna go ahead and serve this on our platter. Let's flip this. Whew. All right, kind of give it a little jiggle. It looks like it's gonna come out.
Looks like it came out.
Woo. All right, we had a few pieces left on our bun pan, but that looks incredible. It smells incredible. Oh my. All right, now I have some green onion here that I'm just gonna top this with. Obviously this is optional, but I think it's gonna add some nice freshness. Perfect. Now for the moment of truth. Time to dig into our delicious gravy, biscuits, sausage, eggs, cheese breakfast. Look at that. Perfectly cooked. Oh my. I'm so excited to try this.
That's
Some of the
delicious.
biscuit, some eggs, some of the sausage. The perfect bite. Oh my goodness. Wow. That is so good. You guys are gonna absolutely love this. You have to try it.